Hello everyone. I know I'm late. This topic's already been covered by a ton of people, and I'm kind of late to the party on it. That is partially unavoidable and partially intentional. I was going to make a video yesterday covering this, specifically Vaush's absolutely horrendous take on it, but I also kind of wanted for more information to come out. I wanted to see, because so often we find that once something like this comes out, there's more information leaked within hours, within the first day of this initial leak, but it doesn't really seem like a whole lot else has come out. There's been threats of other things coming out and threats of things to follow, but nothing so far. So this is the leaked clip, the leaked video clip of Steven Crowder and his wife Hilary Crowder arguing on their back patio. And we're going to be reacting to Vaush's absolutely fucking horrible take, as you would expect Vaush to do. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into it.
That's 3 minutes 27. All right. So, okay, right off the bat, I want to be clear because I haven't seen this, okay? So I don't know what my judgment's going to be. All right? People argue, all right? And people are mean to each other even when they love each other. And I think that's normal and okay. If he's being mean to her, that on its own, I don't even think that's worth noting, okay? There's specific kinds of mean, all right? There's mean strategies, okay? There's mean dialectics, all right?
I want you to keep in mind that he says this, alright? I want you to keep in mind that he said that if he's just being mean to her, then it's not even worth noting, because couples just inherently are mean to each other once in a while. That's just something that couples do. It's just something that happens. It really matters on what he says and multiple other factors on whether or not this constitutes abuse. Keep that in mind, that he said that at the beginning of the video.
Because I drew a boundary.
Oh, never mind.
I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
There's no groceries. I would have to.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes.
Jesus Christ. Dude, the culture war is coming from inside the house. Oh my God. He's smoking a cigar right next to his 8-month pregnant wife. Yeah.
People keep bringing this up, that he's smoking a cigar next to his pregnant wife. Okay, they're like a solid 10 feet from each other. They're in an outdoor patio. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, yeah, you probably should avoid smoking around, pregnant women, but again, they're in outdoors. They're in the back of the patio. It looks like because you can see the beer can sitting there on the table. It looks like he came out there to relax and unwind after work, lit a cigar, sat down, and she walked out and was like trying to say that she's gonna leave or do whatever. So he continued to sit out there and smoke his cigar, and she started this argument. So, I mean, how are you gonna blame him for that? But whatever. He wants to go on about the culture wars coming from inside the house, because in Vaush's head, women should just be allowed to get away with anything and everything, and any type of adherence to traditional roles within the house is automatically bad. See, they have a more traditional marriage from what I've gathered. He works, he provides everything financially. Her only roles is to be a homemaker. Like, that's what they opted into. That's the agreement that they had upon getting married. So it's not unreasonable for him to be upset that she didn't do things that she said that she was going to do, or things that he asked for her to do. It seems like from the start of this video, which I would like to point out the fact that we are just dropped in the middle of this. We don't know any context or background story to the entire argument. We're just dropped in the middle of this, and also there are several cuts throughout the video that are very, very sketchy. This all comes from the wife and her family, by the way. Keep that part in mind. But he talks about wanting steaks and wood pellets for the grill, and that she didn't do that. She didn't go and get them. So it sounds like his goal was to come home after work and grill some steaks out on the patio and relax. And he can't do that now because she didn't go do it. But now she's trying to leave and take apparently their only car. I'm guessing, I don't know what the story is with that. A lot of people are like, why do they have such a nice expensive house but only one car? Who knows? They could have another car in the shop. There could be a million different reasons. Who fucking knows? But they clearly have a misunderstanding here, because he wants to do one thing and she wants to go and leave, and he wants to just sit there and relax and just kind of hang out, decompress after a day of work is what it seems like. But now she wants to leave and go do something, go do whatever she wants to do. And he's saying, you're not taking the car, I'm going to take the car so I can go get the groceries for the things that I want to do. I'm guessing she had all fucking day to do whatever she wanted to do, and it would have been fine if she had just done the simple things that he asked, like go and get these groceries and the steaks and the wood pellets so that he can sit back and grill and relax, and then she could go do whatever the hell it is she wanted to do. But now she wants to take the only car and go do those things on his time, so that now it makes him wanting to do his things much more difficult. That's what I'm getting out of the initial part of this argument. And it doesn't seem that bad to me. This seems like a pretty commonplace argument. But hey, what do I know?
How did a man receive love like that?
Respect.
No. How did a man... No, you're not taking the car.
Stephen,
You're not taking the car.
Stephen,
You are not
then
taking
I
the
will ask them to pick me up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not about Stephen.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Stephen, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Stephen.
Like, I can't
Stephen.
go... listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hilary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
Why can't he? What is he complaining about? Why can't he do any of these things? Why is he whining? What are we whining about?
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
Vaush, I think they only have one car. Okay, first of all, that's insane. They're clearly in like a mansion, or at least a very large house. Why do they only have one car? Second of all, he said he can't call his friend. Does he mean call his friend to like pick him up? Isn't she just getting groceries? Probably a way to control his wife. Maybe. That's weird.
Yes, it's a way to control his wife. Holy shit. Did you miss the entire part where he said, I'll do it. I'll go get the groceries. I'll do the thing that you were supposed to do. And then she immediately says, no, I'll go do it. I'll be back when I get back. If I had to guess, and he even talks about how his life is planned out to the second. If I had to guess, Steven Crowder's probably a pretty busy guy. He does run an entire fucking podcast show that airs daily that requires him to write everything for him to do research for. Like, there's a ton of work that goes into that. I mean, there's a ton of work that goes into me just making these YouTube videos. I do that as a secondary little hobby of mine, and there's hours of work that goes into that a lot of times. Like, I think the research alone for the Florida Bills video that I did here recently, that was like hours and hours of just looking through research, looking through documents, and just like tracking down all the information that I could in order to make an informed video. Now imagine that, but they make hours and hours of content every single day, and I don't think that they work with a very large team. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty minuscule team. But even if that were the case, him being the host, he still has to read through all of this research. He still has to read through all of the written jokes and shit that they're going to do, all the things that they're going to talk about. He has to read through all of it because he has to be prepared every single day to go through these topics and discuss whatever they're going to discuss. So I'd imagine not only does it take a few hours to film and produce this daily episode, it also takes quite a bit of time for them to read, research, and everything else for it. Like, I'd imagine that's a very, very, like a 12 plus hour day, not including all the other things that he has to do just inherently as a person. Just the random things that you have to do day from day just to, like, keep up with things like doing laundry or going and, like, well, buying groceries, apparently, or like doing dishes or whatever else. Like, just really think about how much time has to be reserved for all of these things. And this seems like the only minute of the day that he's kind of able to, like, sit down and just kind of relax for a little while. And now he has to go do a task that he had already told Hillary to do while he was probably busy working. And I'm gonna venture to guess she wasn't doing anything. But hey, again, what do I know? It's really hard to make a decision on any of this stuff because of the lack of context and lack of information that we have around this clip. We don't have any idea of what they were talking about prior to. We don't have anything but these, like, this 3.5 minute video. There's so much information that we are lacking in order to be able to make a solid conclusion on it. Why do they only have one car? I don't know. Again, maybe it could be there are other cars in the shop, so they're down to one car for right now. It's pretty obvious he's not trying to control his wife and make it so that she can't leave. He's trying to make it so that she can't take the car. She tells her to get an Uber. He's making it so she can't take the car that I imagine he bought and paid for because she didn't do the things that he asked her to do, like get these groceries that he wanted to use to then sit back and relax and grill. So now he has to go do it after he sits down and relaxes for a little bit. She goes, "Oh, I'll do it now. I'm going to take the car to go do this thing that I want to do, but I'll also stop and get the groceries you wanted at some point, and I'll be back whenever I'm back." And he's like, "That doesn't work for me. I have a schedule to keep. There might only be a couple of days left, or couple of hours left in his day that he has to just do this and just sit back and relax. And if she takes 2-3 hours to go do this, then he just loses all that time and now he has to do something completely different. He's probably pissed off about it. I'm gonna venture to guess this probably isn't the first time that this has happened, because it doesn't seem like this is a reaction of a person who they just made a simple one-time mistake. Most people, if something like this happens, it's the first time it's happened, they come back and they're like, "Oh, that sucks, but hey, whatever, I'll just go do something else." This is the reaction of somebody who has this happen perpetually throughout their relationship. Again, she doesn't work. As far as I'm aware, she is a stay-at-home wife. That is her only role in this relationship. And if that's the case, it's not at all unreasonable for him to expect her to do minor shit like this, like go pick up some groceries or whatever for him while he's busy working. Or, as we'll find later on, some giving dogs some medication or walking the dogs. That's not unreasonable at all. In Vaush's world, it completely is, because she's a woman and therefore she deserves to be pampered and she's an absolute princess. Otherwise, feminism has lost. But that's not how the real world works. A relationship is a give-take. It is... it's compromise between the two. If they've decided that he works, he provides financially, then yes, she should be doing, as they put it, wifely duties and chores and shit around the house. That's not at all unreasonable to ask of someone.
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, "I'll be back when I'm back"?
Student.
And they can't do it. Can you do that? The only way out of this is discipline and respect.
Oh, he's treating her like a dog, man. The ladies are lining up for their conservative boyfriends. Let's go. Or husbands, I guess.
Oh God, this is why I can't stand Vaush. Vaush is just so... You are the stereotype of the ultra-left. Just because one conservative person, one conservative voice within the community is possibly abusive, again, can't make a 100% determination on this 3.5 minute video clip of a couple arguing. But just because, even if, let's say that it is for a fact that Steven Crowder is abusive verbally and emotionally towards his soon-to-be ex-wife, even if that is the case, that doesn't automatically mean, as you try and put it, in your world, that all conservatives are automatically this way, and all conservatives they all treat their women like dogs. And I don't even see how you can make that conclusion that she's being treated like a dog, because I know in your mind when you hear discipline and respect, that means you think subordinate. That's what comes across your mind. But notice when he said the only way out of this is discipline and respect, I'm pretty sure what he meant, and again, we don't have context to this fucking argument, but I'm pretty sure what he meant is self-discipline and respect for one another. So I'm pretty confident, based on what I've seen so far, and I have already watched all of this video, that this argument is essentially about the fact that she's not expected to do anything else other than a couple of random things that need done around the house, while Steven is the one who provides financially and is the breadwinner. All she's expected to do are these simple tasks, and it seems like she just doesn't ever do them. It's just a perpetual problem that she does nothing around the house, and he has to do these things when he gets off work after working all day. That seems like a pretty reasonable thing to be upset about, a pretty reasonable issue to have an argument over. So I'm pretty sure what he means by discipline is self-discipline. I know, Vaush, you've never heard of the term. You hear discipline and you automatically think punishment. You know, I get it. You're brainwashed into thinking whatever the hell it is that you think. Yeah, that's a really big stretch to assume that you think, Vaush. However, I'm pretty sure he means self-discipline. Self-discipline is when you have things you have to do throughout the day. Go back to what I said earlier about laundry or washing dishes or, you know, taking your fucking car to go get some, go put some more gas in it, because if you go home now, you'll have hardly any in the tank and you'll probably forget about it. Simple little tasks like that are just minuscule and annoying. They're not satisfying in the slightest. Like, you get no reward out of doing these things other than that they're done. But it takes self-discipline to make sure that you do those things, because it's very, very, very easy to just say, I'll go to the gas station later. I'll wash those dishes later. I'll do my laundry tomorrow. It's fine. And then let it build up. It's very, very easy to do that. It takes a lot of self-discipline to constantly stay on top of all of these minuscule tasks that nobody enjoys doing. And the respect thing, I'm pretty sure it is a mutual respect, because believe it or not, Vaush, you absolute cuck, not every relationship is just you pampering the other person and you getting no respect out of it whatsoever. It is a mutual respect. That is the goal of a relationship, is a mutual compromise and mutual respect for one another, to make each other's lives easier and more fulfilling. That's the goal of relationships, believe it or not. So for the issue here is her lack of self-discipline and her lack of doing the things that need to be done around the house, causing him to have to do them. It's a form of disrespect towards him. She's essentially saying, I don't care about you enough, I don't respect you enough to actually do these things that we both need done. I know that you'll do them, so I'll just not do them and let you take care of it, because I don't care enough or respect you enough to forfeit any of my time of doing whatever it is that I want to do in order to do the things that just inherently need done. You'll take care of it. It's fine. I don't care if I take away your time, but I'm not going to sacrifice any of mine. I'm pretty sure that that's the argument that he's making right now. But of course, you have taken it and completely twisted it in some weird way that he's apparently disciplining and talking to a dog.
It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline or respect.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Stephen.
Hilary,
Stephen?
you give up so easily.
I
just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Stephen, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Stephen, your abuse is sick. Your abuse
Watch it.
is sick.
Watch it.
Watch it. Watch it. Don't call out my behavior. Watch it.
Oh, dear God. All right. So let's break this down. So again, we have to go all the way back to the beginning of the video for a little bit more context, because again, we don't have hardly anything to go off of. But at the very beginning of the video, you can hear Steven talk about he drew a line, he created a boundary at abuse and something, I can't remember exactly what it was offhand, but he was talking, I'm pretty sure, about this exactly. that she will immediately call him abusive because he asked for simple things like this. It seems like this, it almost, I don't want to say this definitively because I don't know. So take this as it is. I'm not making a definitive statement or a judgment on this situation. I'm just making observations on the information that I have currently available. It almost seems like she's actually the manipulative one in this relationship. It almost seems like she knows exactly what she's doing, where she refuses to do anything that she anything that isn't what she wants. She doesn't want to do remedial tasks that just need to be done around the house. She is perfectly willing for Steven to take care of her entirely financially and then leave all of the fucking housework and everything else that needs done up to him because she doesn't respect and doesn't have any discipline. She can't be bothered to do any of the tasks that need done because it would interfere with anything that she wants to do. That's how she wants to live her life. It almost seems like she does all this and then will escalate a situation and then shut down. And then so now you have Steven trying to have a discussion. He hasn't been aggressive so far. He hasn't said anything super mean or been disrespectful really in any way, right? There's hardly anything. If this is where the video clip stopped, it would really be nothing worth even noting in this whole divorce. Like, it doesn't even seem like this is relevant information to be thrown out there by some tabloid fucking journalist. But I feel like she's kind of the one in the manipulation here. She's kind of controlling this situation. Like I said, it worries me whenever anybody somehow just throws out like these emotional terms, like the other person will state something very objectively and reasonably and say, you don't do this, you don't do that, and then they automatically shut down. They either get emotional or they throw out, oh, I love you, but this. You notice what she just said there? I love you, but your abuse is sick. Like, where is his abuse in this so far? This has been a minute and a half video clip so far of them just talking, them just discussing something, discussing an issue, and she throws out the word abuse within a minute and a half of them just talking. That is not abuse, I hate to tell you, but I feel like she might be the one manipulating this. And like I said, do not take this as a definitive statement. I don't know. I don't have enough context to back up this idea yet. But I really, really, really want people to just pay attention to what it is she does, how she reacts to things, and the things that she says, because it's kind of interesting.
Watch it.
Fucking watch it.
Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. We need to just talk and baby for a little bit.
This is textbook abuse. Oh yeah, no, it's not just being mean. This is just like abuse. He's treating her like a dog. It's not. This is so the threshold for me is that sometimes bad behavior, when you see like couples arguing, whatever, is like somebody's had a bad day and they're being mean. And I think that's okay. People are mean sometimes, but there's like ways in which you can be mean, and some people will gravitate. I think when they're upset or when they're having a bad day or when they're in a bad mood, they'll gravitate towards kinds of being mean that are totally above board. I think it's fine to be mean sometimes because that's just life. You know, let's not pretend people aren't like that. But this isn't that. This isn't like it's kind of like how being in a bad mood, it's kind of normal to snap at somebody, but it's not normal to just like bark out the N-word at a black guy, you know?
Oh, Vaush, you are such a fucking stereotype. Oh, how are you somehow doing a video about Steven Crowder and his wife and the possibility of Steven Crowder being emotionally and verbally abusive towards his wife, and you have somehow brought racism into it? That is amazing. The amount of mental gymnastics that you must have to do every day while sitting and watching videos is insane to me. You have to be a gold medal Olympian in mental gymnastics. You have to be the champion. This is fucking insane. Oh my god. So let's not forget that this is the same dude who, if I remember correctly, was at one point openly stating that he hates black Republicans. He hates black Republicans specifically because they're black and Republican. Just keep that in mind. Oh, wow. Vaush is a different breed of person, I swear. Anyway, so you openly admit that it is okay for people to be mean and have bad days, and especially in relationships, as you said at basically the very start of this video, where yes, people in relationships occasionally are mean to each other, that's just normal. But you say this goes above and beyond. Where? Where is it above and beyond? You keep saying that he's treating her like a dog. In what way? Having a discussion, talking to a person, saying this is what I expect, and you don't meet those expectations time after time again. Is that how is this abuse? How is this over the top? How is this over the top being mean? This seems like an argument that was bound to happen, and it seems like everybody is taking it pretty easily. The only time that anybody could say that anybody is being over the top is when the wife just breaks down crying and throws out these "I love you, but you're abusive" little statements randomly when he hasn't really said anything too over the top yet. He's been pretty reasonably calm in an argument. So I'm not seeing this. This is textbook abuse. Where? Show me where. I noticed that part, Vaush, that you don't actually have. You're not actually going to break it down. You're not actually going to show, like, oh, this is an issue, that is an issue. No, you're just like, yeah, he's just mean and treats her like a dog, and therefore it's abuse. It is textbook abuse. Like, Steven Crowder's evil. Like, you're such a fucking stereotype. Maybe you should start trying to think for yourself once in a while there, Vaush, instead of just drinking the Kool-Aid and accepting the opinion of the masses on the ultra-left. Because this is one of the cases where I think most people are pretty well divided on it. People, even on the right, are saying if this is true that Steven Crowder is an abuser, then fuck that guy. I personally will be the first to say if Steven Crowder is an abuser, then yeah, dude's a fucking piece of shit, and I have absolutely no respect for somebody like that, but we don't have any confirmation on it yet. I'm not a huge fan of Steven Crowder. I do occasionally catch bits and pieces of his show. He's kind of funny sometimes, and like I more so liked his old skit videos that he would do, like calling people out and whatnot. I thought those were entertaining, but the overall Louder with Crowder show, it's okay. It's not really anything I'm too hung up on, but I'm not willing to just state that he's a piece of shit over one 3.5-minute video. There's a lot more context to the situation that we should actually sit down and observe before we actually sit here and make definitive decisions about his relationship and whether or not he's an abusive person. But I know that you're just completely willing to jump to whichever decision makes him look the worst because you want somebody on the right to look bad. And that's all you're worried about, is making the other team look bad so that your team somehow, by proxy, looks better. It doesn't.
It's like, whoa, well, I was in a bad mood. It's like, okay, I know you were in a bad mood, but that's not normally what you do when you're in a bad mood, right? That's not a normal response to being in a bad mood. It's like the PewDiePie thing, right? Yeah.
And as if you needed another example as to why Vaush is nothing but a fucking stereotype that cannot think for himself, he is bringing up PewDiePie and laughing about PewDiePie, the PewDiePie saying the N-word situation in 2023. Holy fuck, that was like 7 years ago? 6 years ago? 6 or 7 years ago, Vaush. I think it's time to move on, don't you?
Okay, I love you. I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's
Oh, wow. That was upfront. That was pretty direct. All right. Well, I guess that's probably true.
big problem. I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, just be disciplined about it, you go, no, but I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I'm looking more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right in past. Become someone that's unique, day in and day out, worthy of a wife, no, not a...
Did anybody else notice that cut there? That's probably the most blatant one that happens, but don't worry, there's more. I'm pretty sure there's 3 cuts in total in this video. 3 little edits that magically go missing. Again, don't forget that this is his wife and his wife's family who uploaded this video, or not uploaded the video, but distributed it to this this journalist, right? So keep that in mind when you're seeing things like these cuts happen. It's not Vaush that's doing it, it's just the video itself is cutting. Now, you could argue that that is a mean thing to say, that he doesn't love her. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but if it is just the truth, then he really just has fallen out of love with her because he doesn't receive any love from her, and he never has anything done for him or given to him. Like I said, a relationship is a give and a take. If you are in a relationship and all the person does is take, that is a parasitic relationship. If you don't get anything back from the relationship and they just continuously take from you, that is not healthy. That is not a good thing, despite what Vaush may have you think.
Yeah, he's probably like a sociopath or something, or like anti-social personality. I mean, that kind of fits, right? I keep telling you guys, like, the kind of people you need to be a conservative, like, pundit, you have to be like a subhuman demon. There are lots of conservatives who are fine people themselves and just have, like, bad opinions or bad, like, thoughts on the world. But in order to lead those groups, you have to be a monster.
So we're going to break down the rest of this video in a lot smaller sections and responses, just to keep everything a little more organized and less chaotic. Because Vaush goes on a fucking spree of just saying outlandish things one after another. So let's start off with the fact that he's calling Crowder a fucking sociopath based on this one fucking video. Okay, what a wild accusation, isn't it? Then he goes on to say that that basically to be a Republican pundit, you must be an awful human being. So anybody who is a Republican pundit, you, according to Vaush, are an awful human being. You're a monster. Then he says Republicans inherently are just bad and have bad opinions on things. Like, they might be decent people, but they're still kind of bad because they have bad opinions. Do you, like, how ridiculous. You are so fucking over the top with this stupid rhetoric that you spew out of your mouth every single fucking day, Vaush. This is why I call you a stereotype. This is why I don't have any respect for you. You in particular, you're one of the worst ones that I know of. You have zero thoughts on your own. You can't sit down and think about anything by yourself. You need to collectively grab opinions and thoughts of people on your side from your Twitter and your YouTube channel in order to have an opinion on anything. I've yet to see you actually break down any of this video and explain any of your opinions or any of your accusations that you're claiming. Where's that at, Vaush? If you're such an intellectual like you claim to be, you should be able to break this video down pretty easily, right? Where's the breakdown, Vaush? Where's the examples of him being so awful? Tell me what each word means, please, Vaush. You seem to have a lot more information on this entire topic than anybody else in the entire fucking world, aside from the people who are directly involved, Vaush. So go ahead. Inform me. I'm just a dumb little YouTuber that needs Big Daddy Vaush to tell him how he should think. Please, tell me more.
You can't be a good person and, like, be a conservative pundit. Yeah, man, okay, wow. I guess this is like the showcase for what it's like to have a conservative husband or boyfriend, right? I don't love you. I hate how, you say you love me, but you never show me love by putting on gloves. I have no idea what he's going on about.
Maybe, just maybe, Vaush, he means that he never receives love from her. Maybe he means that he never gets any respect back because she doesn't do anything that she's supposed to do. Again, I know this blows your tiny little brain, but there are still relationships that are quote-unquote the traditional roles. I'm pretty sure that they're one of them. The entirety of their relationship is based on the fact that he will be the breadwinner, the entire financial contributor, pay for everything. She never has to actually work a job in her life. The only thing she is required to do is household work and probably childcare. I know that blows your fucking world. But guess what? It's a thing that happens. It's actually a lot more common than what you would think, Vaush. So maybe, just maybe, he means that she doesn't do any of those tasks that she's supposed to do. And that means that she doesn't respect their relationship or him. Because guess what? If she's not doing it, that means he has to. So now he has to do his role plus her role. You don't think that that's wrong? You think she should just skate by and just, like, he's not allowed to call that out? And if he calls that out, that's abuse? Didn't you just say earlier, in reference to Steven Crowder, that, hey, don't call out my behavior because that's wrong, and make fun of him for that? Interesting. But yes, this is totally how it is to have a conservative relationship. Vaush, you're such a fucking weirdo, I swear. It's insane. I would love to spend one day in your head. Imagine seeing one person, one 3.5-minute video of somebody's relationship in a bad light, seeing one random 3.5-minute argument of a couple, and just immediately tagging that with every single conservative relationship that currently and will exist. That is absolutely wild. And again, we're not going to bother even explaining that she could be in the wrong, not only with just if it is a traditional role setup and she doesn't do her own fucking, she doesn't contribute her own side to this relationship. We're not going to mention the fact that that would be a parasitic relationship and would be wrong of her. We're not even going to bother to mention the fact that for some reason this video is edited. We're not going to bother to mention the fact that for some reason she keeps on throwing out these emotional breakdowns, along with the fact that every time that he makes an argument, every time that he tries to discuss anything with her, she immediately either A, breaks down, starts to cry, gets all emotional without even anything being said yet, or B, she just says, I love you, your abuse is sick, I love you, I love you. Like, that's really, really concerning to me, because in my mind, that automatically makes me worried about her and her own intentions and what she's doing, because that tends to be the manipulation of a person, like a gaslighter, basically, where they will start these arguments. They will try to get away with what they don't want to do. In this situation, sounds like she doesn't want to do the things she's supposed to do, and so when he gets upset about that, then she creates an argument of it. She instigates. She will escalate it, basically. And then the moment that he then responds and it becomes an argument or a discussion, that's when she shuts down. She shuts down and becomes emotional and throws out things like, I love you. And then that paints him in a bad light, because now he is in the mindset of wanting to argue. He has had his buttons pushed to be like, okay, fine, let's discuss this. Let's have our little verbal fight with each other that all couples across the entire fucking world have. So he gets to that point, and then she shuts it down. She completely de-escalates herself while he is stuck in this point of mind where he's ready to have this argument. And then she tries to throw out these things like, I love you. It paints him in a bad light, to make him feel like he's the asshole, to make him feel like he's doing something wrong. And then he will then feel bad about this argument later. That, like, this in itself, if that's the case of what's happening, that itself is abusive manipulation. But you don't want to bother talking about that. You don't want to bother even addressing that that is a possibility of what's happening right here. And we don't know and can't know without more context and backstory to this entire argument. We don't know, and you want to automatically just throw it on that Steven Crowder is an abusive piece of shit. You can't bother thinking that Steven Crowder might actually be in the right here, because you just hate him because he's not part of your fucking side. Vaush, you absolute... I cannot stand this person.
What it really sounds like to me is that he's cutting down the rhetoric that he uses on his show to try to discipline her the way he would kind of like paternalistically talk down to his audience, right? Because he's kind of talking to her like she's a dog. Vaush, the glove part was referencing how she didn't want to feed the dog the medicine because she was concerned that it was toxic to pregnant people. Okay? Yeah, to talk down to like an 8-month pregnant woman, and he has like a cigar and he's doing the deliberate like alpha male lean back. You see what he's doing, right? My cam's not totally blocking that. He's like deliberately trying to affect this like, I am the alpha male and you have disrespected me thing. But what always happens in real life when people act like that is it actually just makes them sound like fucking babies.
The alpha male stance. That's what he's doing. He's trying to portray himself as an alpha male by the way he is leaning back in his fucking sofa with his feet up. So like, you're not allowed to be comfortable, apparently, according to Vaush. It's so wild and ridiculous. Now, the other part of that is the medication thing, like the medication for the dog being toxic to pregnant women. I don't understand that. I'm so lost on that. I mean, I admit I'm not a pet person, so I haven't really handled medication for animals, but I can't imagine a medication that you would give to animals would somehow be toxic or harmful to pregnant women. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody can correct me on that or show me some examples. But like, I've never heard of anything like that. That's really weird. Like, it's so outlandish that it almost sounds like an excuse to not have to do it, to just avoid doing it. Be like, I'm worried it might harm the baby. Like, what are you giving the dogs that could harm a pregnant woman? So weird to me. But like I said, I don't know anything about animal medication, so maybe I'm completely off on that.
Because it's like, I'm the alpha male. Where the are my nachos? Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that TikTok? Never mind, it doesn't matter. I am the alpha male, okay? Where is my binky? You stupid whore. Where is my blankie? All right? It's just ironic to talk about discipline when he's exhibiting like negative emotional discipline right now. I do believe him when he says that he doesn't love her though. He seems like the kind of guy who only cares about her as like a status symbol, and his alleged care for her when he talked about their divorce and his apparent desire for the state to legally force her to stay in a marriage with him, which he repeated like 5 times in a 4-minute video.
Oh, Vaush. Nothing that you say is ever really true, is it? Interesting. So, it would be a really, really big jump for me, somebody who watched the video that you're talking about. It'd be a really big jump for me to come to the conclusion that he just wants the state to force her to be with him. I think it's more of a matter that he is upset in this situation where it seems like he was the one trying to hold the relationship together to make it work, and she's able to just up and leave and divide the family now that they have children and drag them through a divorced family setting. I mean, the idea that he actually expects the state to just force her to stay, it's so outlandish. I would find it really difficult to believe that anybody would really think that way. But hey, in Vaush's world, I suppose.
Is probably more of the emasculating embarrassment of being divorced, you know? It's like, yeah, it's like an ego protection thing. He definitely hates women. Well, yeah, all misogynists hate women. Do you guys want to know something interesting etymologically? Okay. Misogyny has kind of an interesting history, all right? It doesn't just mean a person who thinks woman is lesser, right, historically. Because if you go back basically any point in time in history, everyone thought women were lesser than men. Not always, but like, yeah, most of the time. So, like, did they create the term misogynist to mean like every guy? No. The term misogynist referred to men who not just thought of women as lesser, but were so malicious and spiteful in doing so that it was embarrassing and emasculating. The accusation of being a misogynist wasn't that a person was problematic, it was that a person was embarrassing and overreaching in the extent to which they displayed and exhibited their superiority over women. It was like a sign of insecurity. So if you can imagine, like, I don't know, like 1,000 years ago or something, every guy probably thought women were lesser than men, most of them at least. But then there would be like the guys who were so insecure about it, they would beat their wives, or they would be like overly demanding, or they would be like controlling and incapable of love, And that's kind of the root. And I like to think about that too, because when I see people like Steven Crowder, I'm reminded that, like, if you go back, what this misogyny, it's not like, oh, he doesn't like women. Okay? Who likes women, honestly? It's this pathetic, weak, baby-brained, like, petulant spite that's dictating all of this behavior. You know what I mean? It's so weak. You understand what I'm talking about, right?
No, Vaush. No, I don't understand what the fuck it is that you're trying to illustrate with these points. I don't understand any of it. You know why I don't understand any of it? Because it's all absolute bullshit. It's fucking ridiculous. God, like, so much that comes out of your mouth is such fucking horseshit at all points in time. So misogyny. Oh my god. So misogyny is not just people who think women as lesser, because apparently everyone across all time periods have always thought women are lesser. But misogyny, a word that probably hasn't even been around until, like, I'm going to say the 1900s, that has just always meant throughout all time, it was people who took that to an extreme. The people who were so insecure about it that they had to go over the top to prove and make sure that women knew that women were lesser in your fucking world, Vaush. Wow. Have you ever actually, like, looked at human history before, Vaush? Do you know much about the history of the world? Because I really, really doubt it.
No. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous.
It's not fair. It's not fair when you tell me you love me, but you won't do the one chore when you're 8 months pregnant. It's not fair. Is he doing a bit? You could say that the life of a conservative pundit is a bit in its entirety.
You know what I find most concerning about this entire video that Vaush has created? It's not the fact that Vaush is this way, because we all know that already. We all know Vaush is nothing but a fucking stereotype that can actually process any information for himself. We know Vaush is incapable of critical thinking in the slightest. We all know that Vaush is only capable of regurgitating viewpoints and opinions of others that he's echo-chambered himself around in the Twitter and YouTube communities he's created or been a part of for many years. It's not that that's worrying about this video. It's the fact that there are so many people like him. This chat that he has going on is just full of just disgusting people. It's insane to me that there are that many people that not only view the things that they view, but the fact that there's that many people that would watch this video and actually value Vaush's opinion, value Vaush's commentary on anything, that amazes me. It's so fucking insane. But yes, the entire life of a Republican pundit is a bit. You really just do hate the right, don't you? You just hate anybody who has an opposing opinion to yours, don't you, Vaush? It's really your entirety of your life. You have made your entire personality just that of an ultra-leftist. That's the only thing that you care about. You only care about representing your team and your side and hating on anybody else that isn't on your team or your side. It's actually kind of concerning. It's actually very sad. I hope you find something more meaningful in life. I wish you a speedy recovery, Vaush, from this painfully obvious mental illness that you must suffer from.
Hilary, you're right in past. become someone that's living day in and day out.
Yeah, literally, I am scared this medicine will hurt your baby. Therefore, you know, you're not worthy of being a wife to me. Yeah. So much for caring about the kids.
Worthy.
Wife
a
worthy.
wife worthy? No, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife.
As a
I said as a wife. Hilary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage anymore. I'm gonna go. I'll text me what you need. I'll get you the tea.
Dude, she is so emotionally mature compared to him. She hasn't escalated once, and all she's been doing is saying, like, I literally have to do an errand. Like, I'm not...
It's so amazing to me that you're able to draw that conclusion based off a 3.5-minute video clip. You think she hasn't escalated at all? You don't know the backstory or context to this situation. She could have been the one to escalate it to the point that this video starts. And then, like I said, completely shut down for the video. To completely shut down, not only just for the video, but to make Steven Crowder feel like an asshole. That's something that people do. That is a level of manipulation that people employ quite a bit. But, of course, it wouldn't fit your narrative of all conservative people being absolute fucking monsters, right? It wouldn't fit that narrative, so you can't possibly ever consider that being something that could have taken place. I get it. Also, she has not said that she wants to go run an errand. She is tacking on the going and getting these groceries that it seems like she was supposed to go get earlier. She's tacking that on to whatever else it is she wants to do that clearly he has a problem with. It seems more like she wants to go do something that she wants to do, but couldn't do the things that she needed to do beforehand, and now he has to go do those things instead. And that's something that's reasonable to be upset about. But again, wouldn't fit your narrative. I get it. You're all narrative driven. It's fine. I understand. I'm also still really confused on the whole medication that would harm pregnant women. Dog medication that would harm pregnant women, by the way. I feel like unless you are the one swallowing the medication, that I really doubt that is somehow going to harm your baby inside of you. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on it. I could be. It just seems so odd to me that anything could be harmful. Any dog medication could be harmful to a pregnant woman just by being around it or handling it. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But to then just claim that, oh, clearly Steven Crowder doesn't care about his kids, what a fucking mean-spirited thing to say. What an awful thing to say about another human being. But yeah, it's conservatives that are monster people, right?
Yeah, she's engaging with it. I mean, this is probably very... So, like, it's not just her being mature, right? It's like an abuse response thing, where if you have a petulant, aggressive child for a partner, you have to, like, learn how to treat them in a way that prevents escalation. But yeah, no, she's disengaging pretty well here. Man, especially for an 8-month do you know how many hormones are cycling through your body at 8 months pregnant? Seriously, like, that's... Dude, I turn into a giant bitch the nanosecond I have a tummy ache, okay? And I won't pretend that that's wrong. I'm proud to turn into a bitch the moment I have a tummy ache, okay? But this is more than a tummy ache. It's very impressive.
I imagine you're a giant bitch at all parts of your life, tummy ache or not, Vaush. I just imagine you as a constant bitch and an awful human being to boot. But, of course, we're going to keep using this excuse of being 8 months pregnant. You know, I've never in my life met a woman who just, and by the way, she's only 7 months pregnant in this, not that it matters, but I've never met a woman who, the moment that she's pregnant, suddenly is completely debilitated and just bedridden. You know, unless there's some serious medical complications, most women, yeah, it's a pain in the ass, I'm sure, to carry around a fucking baby inside of you. But, like, most women still do most, if not all, the things they normally do. Most women will continue to work at their jobs right up till damn near fucking delivery. Most women will continue to do whatever it is they enjoy doing hobby-wise right up until fucking delivery. Like, this idea that you can just write off a pass for a woman just because she's pregnant, it's so ridiculous and so disingenuous to use this argument, Vaush, and you know it. You know it because you know that's not how actual normal society works. But you're trying to use it as, like, these little brownie points of, like, oh my god, she's pregnant. Why did you treat a pregnant woman like that? being a pregnant woman doesn't inherently make you a good person. She could be this awful, manipulative, fucking terrible human being and be 8 months pregnant, 7 or 8 months pregnant. Right? Just because you become pregnant does not make you an inherently good person. And we don't have any context to this to back up anything that you've said so far. We don't have any context to back up either position. We don't know who is at fault and who is actually the bad person, quote unquote, in this fucking story. But you are completely willing to write Steven Crowder off as a bad person because you hate him because he's not on your side. He's the opposition. And you're using this pregnancy bullshit argument to make people more emotional about it, being like, oh, look, not only is he abusing a woman, he's abusing a pregnant woman. Shame. Yeah. Unfortunately, anybody with half a brain cell is going to look at that and realize that's exactly what you're doing. It's not helping your argument like you think it is. It's actually making it worse. It's making you look worse, Vaush. Also, in what way do you know that she is disengaging, right? She keeps on saying, I'm not going to engage, I'm not going to engage. And then she goes back to saying, I love you, I'm not going to engage, I love you, I'm not going to engage. She could have disengaged this entire situation if she just walked away. If she would have just walked out and gotten an Uber like he said to do, I don't even think this would have been an argument. Do you think that Steven Crowder would have just followed her? Do you think that if she just ordered an Uber and then, sat in the house and waited and then left, that Steven Crowder would have just followed her around the house, like fucking yelling at her or some shit? He hasn't even yelled in this, hardly. He's mildly raised his voice so far. Like, this is such a ridiculous narrative that you're trying to portray, that just literally, like, you're trying to portray a narrative that doesn't exist whilst watching video evidence of that narrative not taking place. And it's so insane to me that you can do this mental gymnastics to actually try and argue that this situation did take place exactly how you're describing it when you're literally watching video evidence of the opposite taking place. She could have disengaged by just leaving. But yet, she sticks around and keeps pacing in this backyard patio. Just keeps on pacing and throwing it. Look, whenever the argument starts to die down, she makes a comment. I don't know if you noticed that, Vaush, but you're right. It's Steven Crowder. He's just an awful human being. Again, not that we have any evidence of that other than this little 3.5-minute argument that doesn't paint him in a great light, but it seems like a pretty standardized argument between a couple. Especially if there's a bunch of backstory behind it that would point to the exact problems that he's complaining about in this fucking video. Completely normal. I would not see this argument. If one of my friends was having this argument currently in front of me, I would not think that they're abusive towards each other at all. Like, I don't understand how you're drawing this fucking narrative out of this.
I love you. I'm committed to you.
Are you committed to do those things?
I'm not.
Oh yeah, I love. Are you going to put on the gloves then to feed the dog the medicine? Oh man, no engagement with the love at all. The cigar thing is creepy. Yeah, he's posturing.
He's posturing. What posture is this, Vaush? Where he has now sat forward, hands at his lap, looking directly at the person, most likely making eye contact with them. What posture is that? It's not an aggressive stance. It's actually a listening stance. It's you have my attention stance. It is. It's the type of like body language that you would assume it's two people having a discussion. Like, I would take this stance while sitting out back, smoking a cigarette, drinking beer with a couple of buddies, and debating politics or something, and we get into like a really good discussion, and I want to give my full focus to that person. Like, I can actually think of a time when I myself have used a similar fucking body language or positioning. It's not intentional. It's a thing that we do when we're like, oh, hey, this is actually really fucking interesting. Let me make sure that I can completely hear you, and make sure that you have my full attention. Not because I'm aggressive, not because I don't like what you're saying or I'm going to fight you. No, I want you to have my full attention because this is really fucking interesting to me, or this is something I'm very passionate about. So let's actually sit down and have this discussion. In what word? I think that's what it is, actually. It just dawned on me. This is an aggressive stance by your metric, Vaush, because you don't want somebody to have a discussion. No. That's evil. That's bad. That's wrong. No, you just want people to shut up and listen to what you and your echo chamber have to say. That's all you want. That is the only time that this could possibly be seen as an aggressive stance. It's so ridiculous, some of the things that you try and say. And yes, put on the gloves. Jesus Christ. You act like that's like this big focal point of the entire argument. It's not. It is the current argument, right? Again, like I've stated already, most likely what is happening here is we are seeing her only role in this relationship is to be a homemaker. That is what she signed up for, most likely, especially with somebody like Steven, who has made his ideals known, that he believes the man should be the breadwinner and take care of the family financially and protect them. The woman should be the one who is the homemaker and raises children. He thinks that men and women have different strengths. That's what their strengths are, and he wants to play off of the strengths. I don't see anything wrong with that as long as they have both signed up for it. And I'm, like I said, I'm gonna venture to guess that that's how it was done. He didn't fucking sneak that into the marriage at the last second, right before the I do's were said. He's like, by the way, you're gonna be a housewife. Like, I really doubt that's what happened. I'm pretty sure that was very well known by her, and she still agreed to marry him. Most likely meaning that she's completely willing to do that, or is actually of similar mindset in that regard. And it seems like this argument, the background story that we don't have, is most likely that is how they have it set up, and she refuses to do the task that she is supposed to do. She's not contributing to the relationship. He is the breadwinner. He makes the money. He protects her and takes care of her financially. All that she has to do, especially given that they didn't have children up until a few months after this point, all she has to do currently is most likely simple little tasks around the house, and she probably just doesn't do any of those. That seems to be what he's so upset about, is that she doesn't do any of her contribution to the relationship, and that upsets him, because now he has to do his role and her role. You know what that is, Vaush? That's a parasitic relationship, and that is seriously unhealthy. But of course, it's not that. It's Steven Crowder's just an abusive piece of shit, right? No, he's just telling her to put on the gloves. No, it's not just the gloves. It's most likely a laundry list of things that she just doesn't do and doesn't care enough to do. So then he has to take care of them, even though he's already meeting his arrangement of the relationship. He's already doing his contribution. Now he has to do hers too. But you don't want to talk about that, do you, Vaush? It wouldn't make your position look nearly as high and morally correct, would it?
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you. I'm committed to you. Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just
Walk the dogs, put on some gloves.
To be fair, he is very busy. He was very busy reclining on the couch, smoking a cigar.
God, you're such a fucking tool. Yes, because it couldn't possibly be that he had just gotten back home from working, like I've already stated, a job that probably takes quite a substantial amount of time. And even if it doesn't take a substantial amount of time, I have my own opinion based on this video, that most likely she just doesn't do anything at all. And that's what he's upset about. So even if it doesn't take a substantial amount of time, it's still not unreasonable for him to get home and want to just sit down and relax, because again, he has done his contribution. He's taking care of her financially. So it's not unreasonable for him to expect it. The only things he's complaining about right now is take the dogs for a walk, give them medication, and he was hoping that she would go and get wood pellets and steaks for him to grill later. And I'm going to venture to guess, believe it or not, that he's not just grilling himself a steak and making himself food. Most likely he's also making her some food too. So you're just such a fucking tool, Vaush. And notice he says, are you committed enough to do those things? Are you really committed? You just said I love you and that you're committed. Are you committed enough to do those things that I ask? I'm going to venture to guess that he's talking about her saying that she's committed to the relationship and fixing this impasse that they're at. But yet, the moment he just asks for simple tasks to be done, again, you see her absolutely break down, and she goes, "I'm not going to discuss this. I'm leaving. I'm doing this." In the moment that a reasonable request is asked, she shuts down. That's what leads me to believe that there is more to this story, and that we should 100% not make a decision based on this alone. Again, if it comes out that this is completely unprovoked and she does a ton of things around the house and he flips out because one little thing isn't done, like, and he goes on this fucking tirade and he actually is just a fucking piece of shit, I will be the first person to say I was completely wrong and that Steven Crowder is a complete fucking dickhead. And I have absolutely no respect for him, because I have no respect for people who abuse anybody, especially women in a relationship. I have no respect for child abusers or women abusers. None. But we don't have enough evidence to make that claim yet. So how about instead of just saying, "Oh, Steven Crowder is the worst," how about we actually just wait? Just say, "Hey, this is kind of weird, kind of looks bad, but let's see what he has to say about it." Because he did just, like, right after this was leaked, come out and say, "Hey, this isn't the full story, and I'm actually working to see if I can unseal documents to give you the full story, because if we can't have privacy from both sides, and both sides can't respect the privacy agreement, then the next best thing is the actual truth." He, right after this, said that this isn't what's real. So now I'm going to try and show you what is. So why don't we just sit and wait for what he has to say instead of just saying, "Oh, he's this awful human being." You know why we're not waiting for that, Vaush? Because you're an awful human being, and all you want is to drag somebody's name through the mud, not because they're actually, like, morally wrong or morally reprehensible or an actual abusive man. It's because that they are not on your side. You don't like him because he has a differing political view from you, and you want to take him down any way that you possibly can. So you're attacking on this, something that you don't even have evidence for yet. That's why you're an awful person, and that's why you just went for the jugular right off the bat the moment anything gets leaked about this. I'm pretty sure I even saw a tweet from you before this was even leaked, before it was just gossip that he was actually abusive. Back when, what was, like, Candace Owens or something said something about, "Oh, Steven Crowder's actually kind of a dickhead," right? I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet from you that, like, immediately you were saying things like this before there was any evidence whatsoever. So it's not surprising at all that this tiny little fucking video of an argument between a couple would immediately make you run for the hills saying, "Look how fucking awful Steven Crowder is. He abuses women. You fucking tool."
Are you committed enough to get the medication as well? No, you take Betty.
As the Crowders head inside, Steven gets angrier and angrier, and by his own admission screams, "I will f*** you up," at his pregnant wife Hilary, who then flees the home. I wish we had footage of that.
I also wish that we had footage of that. I think it's really interesting that this journalist, yeah, I don't have any respect for tabloid journalists. I think it's really interesting that this tabloid journalist went ahead and made that statement, has this little text box appear at the end of the video claiming these things, but then doesn't show it. Like, why is there no video or audio of that? If he was inside just screaming at the top of his lungs that he was going to fuck her up with a door wide open, and these cameras being able to pick up damn near whispered audio from these two, you would think that it would still be able to pick that up. Why doesn't it have that? And where's this admission that he did indeed say that? I haven't seen it yet. Maybe I'm wrong. There might actually be an admission from him that he did in fact say that. And if I am wrong, then yeah, that is a bad thing to fucking say. You shouldn't fucking say that. Regardless, that's pretty fucked up. But until I have actual evidence of him saying it, I'm not going to sit here and berate him and drag his name through the mud saying that he's an awful human being until I have evidence that states that he is. It's not complicated, Vaush. It's not complicated at all. And before we even get into this article, I would like to point out the fact that there are so many just problems with this article, right? There is even one point where the author claims that, so Steven apparently bought another house and left randomly while, like, when she was giving birth, just disappeared. And also that she wanted to go to, like, therapy and have him go to therapy for his abuse, quote unquote, and his anger management problems, and that he refused, and he just didn't care enough to go through and do these things. But yet, also by this journalist's own fucking admission later on in the article, they talk about how Steven Crowder is actually in therapy for his anger management problems. He has been pretty vocal about the fact that he does have anger issues on his own show, and that he does actually go through therapy for them. So, like, which is it? It doesn't even make sense that a person who's already in therapy for anger management would then refuse to go to couples therapy and work on the issues within the marriage. It doesn't really make sense, does it? Not only that, but this fucking person who made this article, there's so many inconsistencies, but they claim that they have numerous like text messages, audio recordings, video recordings, etc. Just a laundry list of evidence against Steven Crowder, but then doesn't give us any examples of anything. This is the only thing that this person presents throughout the entire article. And then random quotes from different family members of Crowder's wife, Hilary. He apparently has interviewed multiple people on her family side, and they have all these kind of bad things to say about him, but yet none of them are like really quoted to anybody. It's just her family. Her family said this, her family said that. Like, there's no quotes to him. There's no, you don't put a face to the things that are being said, and he doesn't give any examples of any of these text messages, audio recordings, or video recordings. And they say that they have these like 3 or 4 times throughout the article, if not more, but doesn't give it a single example. That's why this article is so much sketchier than the video. The video is already problematic in the way that it just has multiple cuts. It throws us in the middle of the argument, or actually more towards the end of the argument, I suppose. But it throws us in the middle of the argument, and then it has 3 or 4, I want to say 3 cuts throughout the entire video that just are like a minute to 2 minutes apiece, that just, you can actually watch the time on the bottom right of the camera change with these cuts. There's minutes of footage that are just erased, that are just gone, and this was supposedly given to this person by the wife. There's so many things that are wrong with this, but we're not going to hear any about that from Vaush, because it doesn't fit Vaush's narrative.
Okay. Oh, there's a date down in the bottom right that I couldn't see. This is from June 26, 2021. Okay. I wonder how this got leaked. Dude, there is no fucking way she's not keeping the kids, man. I wonder if she got prenuped. Probably not. Yeah, this is going to go really well in divorce court, man. Holy shit. Do you think she's like... The divorce proceedings have been going on for a while. This probably is from those proceedings, right? Like, she would have had a lawyer, and the lawyer would have tried to dig up anything to use as evidence of, like, give me my kids, give me my money. And this probably came up in that. I don't know how else you could get, like, a security cam footage from Steven Crowder's house unless it came out during that legal process. I also want to be clear, by the way, because I know that there's going to be, like, a small subset of, like, 14-year-olds who think this is alpha. Steven is fucking miserable here. He's reclining on the couch to prepare for an argument with his pregnant wife, smoking a cigar, which he's only doing to posture as masculine here. He's not, like, that's the only reason he's doing this. Whining that she won't do more chores for him while being 8 months pregnant. And then he, like a bitch, when she finally divorces his ass, he complains to the internet and says multiple times that he wishes the state made it illegal for her to divorce him. Like, do you think this man is happy? No, but this is what masculinity is to him. It's this pathetic, like, crippling, you know, a cage that he lives in. And he's too stupid to do anything about it.
A lot of projecting coming from Vaush, huh? All this fucking time that he spent talking about alpha. Like, what is wrong with you that you are so focused on people being alphas or not? Is that like a thing that you actually worry about in your day-to-day life? Is that something you focus on? It's kind of fucking concerning, isn't it? Will this go well in divorce court? I mean, I would hope that this wouldn't even be used in divorce court without full context, because if anything, without full context, this would actually go pretty poorly in court, I would imagine, because the defense would be able to just pick this apart. There's multiple cuts in it. It starts in a random ass time. Like, this is so very clearly being used to paint a very, very, very basic fucking picture, like a very fucking biased picture of what the person wants you to see. This isn't like actual damning information. This is like tabloid level shit, which I mean is what it is. But I would hope that nobody's using this in court. It would go very poorly for you, in my opinion.
And lacks discipline. Ironically. That video was only 5 days after the Sam Cedar H3 incident. Oh, this was only 5 days after he got Sam Ceder'd? Maybe that's why he was in a bad mood. There's a statement from Crowder's ex-wife's family later in the article. They were married in 2012. Yeah, so they got married before Crowder blew up. Hilary Crowder filed for divorce in December 2021 after she learned her husband had hired a divorce attorney a month earlier. Interesting. So he's complaining that she divorced him, but he hired the divorce attorney first? Okay, my guess on this one is not that he's being a hypocrite. I think he saw the writing on the wall and he hired the divorce attorney first so he could start protecting his assets. As in, he anticipated the divorce ruling from her and wanted to get stuff settled first. That makes more sense to me than him hiring a divorce attorney and then nothing happens for a month and then she files. Not him, you know. I think that makes more sense. The night before she gave birth, Stephen and Hilary exchanged a series of text messages about separating. Hilary sent her husband one of the final text messages. Stephen, I'm afraid of you and your rage. You are scary. You scare me. I want to heal things, but you have to take responsibility. Stop blaming others. Stop feeling pain and sadness only for yourself. Yep, again, he's fucking miserable. He should fire his attorney for not sealing this video. Getting stuff sealed isn't always easy. I mean, depending on the circumstances, this might be hers to release. I mean, it's literally like her home camera footage, right? It's not like third-party info that was found in Discovery. Like outside, could also just leak it. I mean, whatever. What Crowder didn't mention was that his very private wife, who hardly appears at public events and is rarely photographed, I wouldn't want to be photographed next to Crowder at a public event either, had made a request via her attorneys that her husband not discuss their divorce at all. Crowder dismissed that request and spoke about the divorce and their marriage for 5 minutes in a clip that went viral. In a statement to me sent via email, Hilary Crowder's family said, Hilary Crowder is such a weird name to say. Hilary is currently living alone in Dallas, apart from her family and support system in Michigan, and is focused on taking care of her young children. Yep. Yoink. She is not prepared at this time to speak about her divorce becoming a public or the misleading statements made by Stephen about their relationship. The truth is that Hilary spent years hiding Stephen's mentally and emotionally abusive behavior from her friends and family while she attempted to save their marriage. She was the one who was asking to work on their relationship to keep the marriage intact for their unborn children.
Do you see what I mean, though? There's so many inconsistencies within this article. Like, if you just actually sit down and read this article, you'll see just how much of it just seems really weird and really off. There's so much just really poor journalism littered throughout it. Like, I just don't even understand it. For one, this is leaked, but the journalist is outright saying that it was leaked by Hilary Crowder's family, which, if that's the case, and this was sealed evidence, that is not a good thing for you. Just a heads up. You can't leak sealed documents like this. Also, really, they are trying to blame him for making the divorce public. I'm pretty confident that he was responding to a bunch of allegations and leaks and shit that were going on already. I'm pretty sure that wasn't it Candace Owens that was pretty much throwing out the fact that he was getting divorced or in the middle of a divorce. I'm pretty sure that's what was going on. So he finally openly talked about it when it was going all throughout social media and Twitter that it was basically confirmed but unconfirmed that the Crowders were in fact getting a divorce. So he decided to address it on his show. And the only thing he addressed was that, yes, we are going through a divorce. We are currently involved in divorce proceedings. It's not the kid's fault, and we just want privacy. We're not going to disclose any information. We're not going to talk about it. This will be the only time that I speak on the fact that I'm getting divorced, and that's it. That was the end of his statement. But to sit there and claim that they were willing to keep the divorce completely private until it was finalized, and Stephen Crowder was the one who went public with it, is so fucking just disingenuous to say. It was clearly getting leaked to other people, and other people were using that information to kind of harass Steven Crowder about it. A perfect example would be Candace Owens going on about it, right? And I don't think she ever actually like openly stated what it was that was going on, but she dropped enough hints that it wasn't very difficult to ascertain what it was she meant. So it's kind of disingenuous to state that Steven Crowder was the one who went public with it. He does run he does run a podcast, right? Like eventually he does have to say something on the matter. People are going to want to know. It also goes on to say that she was the one who wanted to save the marriage and that she was scared of Steven Crowder. I mean, that's really hard to believe that somebody who's already in therapy is outright refusing marital therapy. Somebody who's already in therapy for their own problems and has been completely open and honest about it and in support of people going to therapy throughout his time on his show, somebody like that refusing to go to marital therapy to save his marriage, somebody who is so pro one marriage, so pro like, you know, you find one person and you spend the rest of your lives with them. He takes, or at least appears to take those vows very seriously. It's so difficult to believe that a person like that would just outright refuse to help work on the marriage, and it was actually just Hilary the entire time trying to save it, while Steven just said, fuck it, let it burn. Like, it just doesn't sit right with me, and it might all be true. I don't know. We don't have all the facts yet. We don't even have any like real evidence on this article, because all it is just a bunch of accusations, a bunch of people saying that people said things with no actual facts to back it up. No one's actually saying that, yes, I did say this, and they're not giving us any of this list of text messages, audio recordings, or video recordings that they supposedly have as proof. So this is all we have to go off of right now, and all we have is this tiny little video clip and a bunch of this journalist saying people are saying things. That's it. Really hard to draw a conclusion off of that.
Funnily enough, all of this is like such an incredible showcase of why we need no-fault divorce. In June of 2021, Steven left their home to pursue elective surgery. Hilary urged him to get the help he needed to address his abuse with the hope their marriage could be saved and they could peacefully live together as a family. Instead, Steven refused to do so and chose not to be with his wife during the birth of their twin children. Oh my God! After the birth, Steven bought a townhouse and left their family permanently. Oh, he left! Dude, he literally did the I'm going out for cigarettes thing. On every level, he's a piece of shit. And after all of this, he was saying the state should force her to stay with him because she's just property to him. Yeah, talk about family values, dude. Holy shit.
See what I mean when I say this article is really hard to believe? When you say things like this, it's so uncharacteristic of the person that you're talking about. And I'm not saying it's impossible for somebody to preach one thing and then completely do another. That's something that we see, not super common, but it is a thing that just happens. Like, it wouldn't be totally surprising, but it is harder to believe when they've made their entire career and their entire ideology based around things like people should be in a singular marriage and stay together for the rest of their lives. You know, it should be based entirely on you find that one person that you truly, really love and you just stay with them. And the most important thing is family, and all these other things that he talks about, like the fact that he's already in therapy for anger management. He has been completely vocal about it, but yet he refuses to go to marital therapy. There's so many things that are so just insanely uncharacteristic. He leaves his children. He just doesn't show up for their birth and doesn't fucking bother with them, really. Like, and he just up and leaves. There's so much about this that is just, it just seems so untrue. It seems so difficult to really believe. And I'm not saying that it's impossible. It could very well be the truth. And if it is, fuck him. But at this point, without further evidence, it's really hard to believe what's being said right now.
Left the wife alone to give birth to twins, then just fucking left. Hilary was unaware Steven had hired a divorce attorney and asked his assistant to cut Hilary off financially. Yep! Literally! Leave her on the birth table, leave the house, going out for some cigarettes, no money. Yeah, wow. Family values, baby. Family values. Conservatives, man, they're subhuman. especially conservative pundits. You can get around it for the median voter, but for these pundits, man, you have to be a demon to appeal to these people.
And again, we're right back to the Republicans are evil, demons, subhuman, etc., etc. Oh, Vaush, what are you going to do if it comes out that all of this is absolute bullshit and Steven Crowder was actually the good guy in all of this? Will you actually announce, like, that you were wrong? Will you accept that maybe Republicans aren't all that bad? I don't think so. I think you'll just move on and be like, oh yeah, maybe I was wrong about this specific instance, but Republicans are still subhuman, and Steven Crowder's still a demon. I think that's exactly what will happen, won't it, Vaush?
There is significant documentation substantiating these facts. Do you think the rest of the right will flip on Crowder? No. They don't care. You could guess a lot of this stuff just watching his show. They don't they're too mind melted. They're too alternative facts. They see stuff like this and they think it's all propaganda. They don't assess or evaluate people like Crowder objectively, because if they did, they would realize their ideology is a crock of shit. If they were the kinds of people who were capable of analyzing stuff like this and coming to conclusions that were in any way related to reality, they wouldn't be conservatives. We hope Stephen will cease speaking publicly about these personal matters in an untruthful manner. We also look forward to there being full transparency in the legal process, so there is fairness and accountability for the actions that caused the divorce, and to ensure the outcome is what is in the best interests of the young children. And then they describe the video that we saw. In the review of audio, video, and text messages, Steven Crowder repeatedly admits he has a volcanic temper and has been working through therapy to control it. Damn, dude. I don't know. I have so little respect for people with sensitive tempers. Like zero respect. They're like dogs. Like they're barely even. I'm sorry. I have no respect for these people. The thing is, first of all, he's definitely beaten her.
Holy fucking shit, Vaush. Like you. Oh my, you just live in your own fucking world. Like, where are you drawing that conclusion from? Where are you getting this information? Like, even in this article that you are quoting currently, that you are working through, it states that neither of them are claiming physical abuse nor sexual infidelity. They both have already stated that no physical abuse ever occurred in their relationship, but you just automatically are like, he's definitely beat her. Holy fuck. And in the same breath, you also state another group of people that you have no respect for. I'm really just convinced at this point that you don't actually respect anyone as a human being. Like, unless they are the exact spitting image of you, you just think that they are subhuman, don't you, Vaush?
And second of all, it's so important to understand that shit like this is 100% a product of entitlement. Agreed, Vaush? Losing control is a cope and violent outbursts are a choice. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. With rare exceptions, I really think that when people talk about anger issues or losing control, what they really mean is that they're like entitled, egotistical pieces of shit who feel aggrieved and who feel like usually emasculated by something happening around them, and they freak out and lash out, and that they do have control over that process, and they're just weak.
So everyone with anger issues is just feeling emasculated. So you're saying that only men can ever have anger issues, Vaush? That's literally what you just said, basically. What an interesting take.
I have so little respect for people like this. And by the way, just saying, okay, in all the relationships that I've seen play out in person and online and everywhere, okay, the sentence, yeah, my husband had like a horrible temper and was abusive to me, is 99% of the time not followed by, and then he got therapy and got better. Just so the like, I can change him crowd, Godspeed to you, but holy shit, I do not, the success rate on this, I guess we've now conclusively determined that Steven Crowder is a bad person.
Oh, yeah, Vaush, we have. In this 3-minute and 30-second fucking video clip with no context, multiple cuts, and a lot of editing, along with a fucking horrible article that provides no sources, no actual proof, no evidence whatsoever, just makes a lot of unsubstantiated claims, we have concluded that Steven Crowder is an absolute horrible human being. But let's not forget, you thought that he was an absolute horrible human being to begin with. You think all Republicans are absolute demons and subhuman people. Holy fuck. Again, I have to point out that if any of this is actually true, like if this really is Steven Crowder, then yeah, fuck that guy. But this isn't what you're worried about. You actually only care that he is a Republican. You don't actually care about the abuse of some random Republican woman. We all know that. You just stated Republicans are subhuman. So why would you care about the abuse of a subhuman? Or does that not extend to Republican women? Does the fact that they're women outweigh the fact that they're Republican? I'm very confused on the rules that you try and use here, Vaush. It's rather confusing, honestly. But either way, we can at least gather that you didn't care whether or not Steven Crowder was abusing his wife to make the claim that he's an awful subhuman piece of shit. You were going to make that regardless. You didn't care. All that really mattered is, like, can you actually prove that he's a garbage human being to other people? Can you use this as a way to further your point that, oh, Republicans are subhuman demons? Which, again, we don't have the context or enough evidence to prove anyone is really doing anything wrong here.
Took us a while to get there, but we did. Somebody said that Candace Owens... Oh yeah, here's Candace Owens defending him. If this were Alec Baldwin caught on camera, every person in conservative media would condemn this and play this on repeat. Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. Somebody in chat said Candace Owens defended him. No, this is condemning him. They must have said that it was the comments that were defending him. My apologies. No. I was thinking Candace Owens works for Daily Wire. This would be a pretty bad, like, angle to defend him on. Rare Candace Owens W. I feel like a lot of conservative women, even grifters like Candace Owens who have no values and are also demon people, I do feel like there's kind of like an innate sympathy response they often feel when it's like, I mean, like abusing a pregnant, like an 8-month-old pregnant wife, right? Like, is she defending him? No, she's not defending him. Okay, I misread the comment and addressed the tweet before reading its contents. But no, she's attacking him. I do like some of the responses that are defending him, though. You don't know. Justification? Maybe. Women can be infuriating, but until he physically does something, it's no one's business. Phenomenal stuff. Blue checkmark, of course. Obviously. Why do cons always bring up Alec Baldwin? Isn't he just some actor? He's liberal and anti-gun, and they hate him for it. So they've been like taking shots at him for ages. Oh yeah, this was after the divorce proceedings began. Women are doing less work at home. They're unhappier. Divorce rates are skyrocketing, and men don't want to marry them. Great job, feminism. Again, blaming his wife. Because it's all projection. He's blaming his wife here. He's like, man, all this crap is happening because of feminism ruining my wife. Which, if she was a feminist, I don't think she would have stayed with him for that long. Family values pundits when their family has to be valued. True. Literally. Abuses pregnant wife, says he doesn't love her, leaves her alone as she gives birth to twins, moves out of the house without an explanation, never returns, leaves her the children, then tries to cut off financial support to her. Literal, like, demon shit. Yeah. Her bio says she grew up in an evangelical family. Yeah, so she's been groomed from life. Women who grow up in evangelical families, 9 times out of 10, are groomed, often in a borderline sexually predatory way, into being submissive dolls for other abusive men to prey on when they're older. Or when they're younger, They're evangelicals, man. Fucking care. So it makes sense that she would be, like, so temperate when it comes to the abuse of Stephen, because she spent her entire life dealing with men like that.
Oh, Jesus. So far, we have learned that Vaush thinks Republicans are subhuman demons and that evangelicals are just as bad. Evangelicals are subhumans as well, I guess, and they just, like, groom people for sexual shit. I don't know. He has some interesting ideas about the world around him, I suppose. But that actually will finally do it. There's nothing left of this Vaush video. Now, in terms of the Steven Crowder video, well, like I said before, multiple times throughout this video, that there's not enough real evidence to say either way on anything, if you ask me. Like, does this paint Steven Crowder in the best of light? No, it doesn't. It makes him look bad, but it would be really easy to take some out of context clip of an argument between a couple and make either one look bad if you just randomly start grabbing different clips of a fight. Right? It's not that fucking difficult. It's not very rare to find couples fighting and they do some kind of shitty things to each other. That doesn't automatically make it abuse. Okay? Relax on this fucking bullshit, Vaush. Does it make it so that Steven Crowder is inherently an evil human being? No, it doesn't. We don't have evidence yet. I think, like I said, it paints him in a bad light, but it's not conclusive yet. And like I've said several times throughout this video, if it comes out tomorrow that Steven Crowder has done all of these things and more, then I'll be the first one to say, fuck that guy. Fuck him. He shouldn't even be allowed to fucking exist anymore. Fucking throw his ass in jail. Throw away the key. I don't care. Like I've stated before, I do not have any respect for people who abuse women or children. That's like the lines that I draw, that you absolutely just become a subhuman to me. That is like a completely indefensible position if you're abusing women and children. Regardless of the abuse, like, you are just an absolute piece of shit. So if that comes out tomorrow that he did these things, then yes, fuck him. But to sit here and say that he is obviously an awful human being because of a fucking 3-minute and 30-second clip of him fighting with his fucking wife is ridiculous. But again, like we already know, Vaush doesn't care about any of this. He just wants to make it look bad. That's all he cares about. He just wants to make the opposite side, which is Republicans, look bad in the eyes of the public. He wants to further support his agenda that Republicans in general are just subhuman demons. So this is what he's going to do. He's going to use random shit like this, regardless of who it's over and what it's about. He's going to try and take these little moments, these little wins that he can find, and throw them out to the public like this. Because any self-respecting content creator that covers political issues or any type of, even drama channels, will have more of a fucking, like, information dig than what Vaush has done here. Even drama channels right now are going, I don't know, I don't really know what to make of this. Like, this is a fight, but is it really that bad? I don't know. Like, I've seen so many different fucking clips of different people reacting to this, and everybody has such drastic different opinions on it. But Vaush here is immediately like, yep, no, Steven Crowder, awful human being. Fuck him. So ridiculous to me. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. This was a pretty extensive breakdown of both the Steven Crowder and Hilary Crowder video leak, as well as Vaush's take on it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Note that there is a link to my new Twitter and also the Discord, the community Discord, in the description. As always, feel free to join, feel free to follow me, feel free to subscribe to get more content from me, and I will catch you all in the next one.